Won't keep you too long. Thanks for coming, man. How many times have you been out to Australia now? I was here last time you did a seminar.
About 12 times.
12 times?
Years.
Before I was married, 14 years, yeah.
13 years.
Shit, I'll get you a bit closer to that mic. Okay. Alright. How do you feel that Australia's Jiu-Jitsu is now compared to, say, Brazil and the States? Do you think it's catching up, or has it caught up? Just in general, but not so much in the competition sense of things. We'll do both. So in the competition sense of things, as well as self-defense.
On the self-defense, I think they're far behind because there's only Luke teaching self-defense part over here.
Yep.
So I will teach
That's
self-defense.
a lot of self-defense.
So it's very far behind on that. But the whole world is behind on that.
Yes.
They think the Jiu-Jitsu is just grappling.
Yeah. When we were talking to Pedro Sau a couple of months ago, he said that he thought the starting point for that was when competitions came around. And as soon as there were points that were able to be scored, that's when people started to forget about the self-defense aspects of things. Would you agree with that sort of statement?
It's easier to teach the point system instead of self-defense. The self-defense you have to know to be able to teach.
Yeah.
It's the point systems pretty much get together and just spar people.
Yeah.
So
it seems to be following a similar trend to sports like Taekwondo and Judo, where as soon as they became like tournaments and whatnot, that's when it all, the street aspect started to be forgotten. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you think is there any way of reversing that? Do you think there's a chance to reverse and sort of start from? Do you have to start from scratch or?
No, people are realizing that point system it's not gonna help them in a street fight situation.
Yeah, and I think when you see a lot of these elite championship level grapplers go into things like MMA, they're getting caught out when they're rolling for. Yeah, big time. Especially the last main UFC card with McGregor and Holly Holm was sort of caught out a lot. A lot of the media was talking about how that was a win for Jiu-Jitsu, in that these two elite strikers just got dragged into a dogfight by two good grapplers. Like Miesha Tate, she's a good grappler, good wrestler. Especially Nate Diaz, I saw that he had Kron in the corner as well, which helps a lot. Anyway, take it back to the beginning, man. Through doing these interviews and just like getting to know a lot of martial artists throughout the years, a question you begin to ask is, how did you get involved in your sport, whereas your family is sort of an exception to that, in that the name Gracie itself is synonymous to Jiu-Jitsu. Being born into that family, was there ever a sense of choice whether you were going to learn Jiu-Jitsu or not?
Not really.
No. Like, was it
not really?
No.
It's just every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays we gotta go train.
Yeah.
That's the thing to do.
And did it just feel normal? Like, I'm sure growing up, you didn't have the outside perspective that you were a Gracie. It was probably just the norm. Were you just growing up as a normal kid? Did you just feel like a normal kid growing up, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the protection.
Yeah.
Of the name.
Yeah. Did you find that having the name would get you into fights? Did people challenge you because you didn't have it?
No.
No.
So
That'd be silly.
Like, okay, we do what you guys do.
So it was a pretty big deal being a Gracie in Rio back then as a kid.
Oh yeah,
Famous.
even today.
The family was famous. Yeah.
Even today.
Oh yeah, of course today. Yeah.
Were you expected to fight, like competitively? Is that something that was expected, or were we just expected to learn?
It's something that we want to do.
Yeah.
But there's so many of us around. Sometimes one of a couple get overlooked.
Yeah. It seems to be something that was almost ingrained into the Gracie DNA.
It was my father, main teachers, main instructors, not fighters.
Yeah.
We just fight to prove that our self-defense style works.
Yeah. Which it did. Now, when you first came out to America, did you? How did that all come about? How were you first proposed the idea of moving to America?
Horton needed somebody to help out
Yep.
watching his kids.
Yep.
So,
Like a
pretty much.
babysitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Were you ever reluctant to leave Brazil?
I was 17 at the time.
Shit.
So 17 years old, not thinking, back then, didn't think much, but today the world became a small place.
Yeah. Big time. And who was already out? Who was already out at that time?
Horton was in the United States.
Was he the only one?
His wife liked the way I hang around with the kids and
Yeah.
take care of the kids, the little ones.
Yeah.
So they invited me over.
Yeah. With the, I wanted to just jump in quickly about the belt system, because you a couple of years ago started wearing, I think it was the dark blue belt. What's the rationale behind that? What's your reason for bringing that back?
There was, back in the day with my father, when he first learned, there was a white belt, a blue belt, and a Royal Navy blue belt for the instructor.
Yeah.
There was no black belt, there was no, when they learned, there was none of that.
So there was no black belt, red bar.
There was none of that.
How did that come
about
about?
68, 70, they create the federation in Brazil,
Okay.
and they build the belt system, and they award my father the red belt,
Okay.
and Carlos. And then, but since everybody was getting promoted because of the tournaments, because they win tournaments, my father, after a while, first he agreed, but then he's like, okay, hold on. People getting promoted because they win tournaments, not because they know the system.
Mm.
So my father started to step away from it
Yeah.
and start to wear his blue, the Royal Navy blue again.
Yeah.
Since he passed away, I always got promoted by him.
Yeah.
Don't want to get promoted anymore. That's
Yeah.
it. Stops right there. Put a belt like his with his signature on the end.
Yeah.
Stops
Cool.
right there.
Sort of hold fast to that tradition, which is cool. The Gracie challenge, is that something that, did that start in Brazil, or is that something that only came about when you guys got over to America?
It started. That's the same concept from Brazil,
Okay.
but it came about in America.
Yep. And
People thought the Gracie, that challenging everybody to a fight.
yeah.
No, we're not challenging everybody. You say yours is good, I say mine is good, let's find out. There's only one way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
How dare you? It's alright.
Cut.
There was one famous fight that I was watching, especially before this. I was kind of just researching as much as I could. That fight with the kung fu fighter.
Jason DeLucia.
That's the one.
DeLucia.
Yeah, there's like millions of views on YouTube. Is there any backstory to that, or not even that one in particular? Are there any crazy stories you've got regarding the challenges where people come in?
Jason just came in.
Yep.
Wants to fight. I heard about it. That we fight at the academy.
Yeah.
So he called in, scheduled to come in. Okay. So Harden told me, hey, don't finish this one fast.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Take a while on this
yeah.
one. I need an X amount of footage to finish the inaction videos. or you're gonna have to do it again, another one again.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'll make it last.
Because I remember the commentary, you had his back and you were just digging the elbows in, and it was like Royce could choke him at any moment, but he decides to let it go. I was just thinking, that's brutal. That's funny, man.
You fought Jason DeLucia again at UFC.
In the UFC, yes.
Oh, really?
He broke his arm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then he signed up for the UFC,
And he was told not to.
representing Kung Fu, so they brought him in.
How did that all come about, the UFC? How was that proposed to you? Was it Horian that brought it to your attention?
Horton created the UFC,
Yeah.
so when he built the show,
Yeah.
and he talked to my father, they had to put somebody to fight,
Yeah.
so they decided to put me.
Yeah.
It's just not big, not too small, in the right weight division, let's say, as opposed to there's brothers, they're bigger,
Mm.
cousins, they're smaller, bigger, and brothers, they're smaller, wouldn't be as impressive if they were bigger, and might take a little too long if they were too small.
Mm.
So, plus Horton trusts my technique.
Yeah. Did you guys was there any sort of backup plan if you were to happen to lose? And do you think that would have altered Jiu-Jitsu history, or would it have only just sort of delayed it? It was Jiu-Jitsu something that was an inevitable thing to come out?
I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't think about
He
it.
just set up the fight, told me I was gonna fight, done, I'm a fighter, man.
That's it.
How old were you when you won that? The first
26.
one? You were 26. But how did you spend that prize money? That big check that you got?
I went to Disneyland.
Did you ever think the UFC would be like those small shows? I think it was Mobile, Alabama. That was the first show. Where was the first show? Was it
Denver, Colorado.
Colorado?
Are you guys trying to test my memory?
No, not at all. I'm just
What's
curious.
the name of that fighter again? 25 years ago. And, what was that location again? 20 years ago. They're testing my memory.
I want to test your memory.
You're doing well. You're
About
passing.
Luke.
See if the real Royce Gracie.
Did you ever think it would turn into something as big as it is today? Like even
Yep.
with women's at UFC?
Nah, we didn't know about women.
No. Even Dana
I
White
like,
didn't.
I like
know
my woman. I'm feminine.
Yeah.
I don't want to get home and get beat up. But hey, it's a free country, free world, man. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, some of them are mega stars, man. Especially like that triple threat that they got going now with Ronda, Holly, and Misha. They're just as big as a lot of the male stars.
Yep.
That's crazy, man. How into the UFC and Bellator are you these days? Are you like an avid fan, watching, keeping up to date, or do you sort of just check in every once in a
I
while?
watch the champions.
Okay.
I watch the champions.
Is there any reason why just champions? Or?
Because they're the champions. They know how to use strategy.
Strategy.
You see, it's not just
Anyone you
duke
like
it
in
out.
particular from the current fighters?
Man, I like Liam McGeary,
Yeah.
Bellator.
Yeah.
English guy, very good.
Yep.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Good grappler.
Mm.
Hits like a mule.
How do you feel about, in particular, the scoring system today regarding jiu-jitsu, in that if a wrestler takes a jiu-jitsu guy down, he might be off his back. In the eyes of the judges, that wrestler's winning the fight, even though the jiu-jitsu guy could be throwing up triangles, elbows, he's really active off his back. But as a judge, they're not seeing that as winning the round. Do you think that's a problem, or is that something the jiu-jitsu guys just have to deal with?
He takes me down, okay, and he gets beat up.
Mm-hmm.
But he won the fight. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have no problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, especially a good kid at the moment is Brian Ortega. I think he's out of Gracie University. He's like he's not even worried about being put on his back. He's just throwing up. He's so active that he's more dangerous. That it's not even worth taking him down almost. That's good in that jiu-jitsu is starting to make a comeback in that way. The guard is starting to become active, and whereas I think a lot of people in the last sort of 10 years have been training somewhat anti-jiu-jitsu in that they've learnt jiu-jitsu to just survive and to just get up.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No. Yeah, I suppose if you have to know where your strengths are at the end of the day, don't you?
Yep.
So if a boxer came into your school and said he wants to fight MMA, how would you approach?
I'll teach him how to survive on the ground,
Okay.
not how to try to beat somebody on the ground.
Yeah.
But they just survive, bring the fight home.
Yeah.
The fight goes stand up.
How do you spend most of your time these days? Are you spreading between?
Travel about 7 months of the year all over the world
Okay.
teaching.
And how much time do you dedicate towards yourself in that staying at home and learning and just practicing your jiu-jitsu?
5 months.
5 months. The other 5. That's good. 5 months.
That's
Do you-
the maths. With this in your math, with this in your memory, we're all over it here.
That's a jiu-jitsu guy. Doesn't take blows there. Do you
It's
find?
It's okay.
So I just didn't know the answer. I was like, what's the other answer? Anyway.
If you said 6 months, you'd be right.
Is that because you feel that teaching, in that you teach for the majority, do you feel that helps you a lot more in your jiu-jitsu? Is that something, do you enjoy one more than the other? Or do you feel one's more important than the other? Or you don't really think about it?
Like I said to Bellator, I was getting ready for the fight.
Mhm.
People were saying, wow, man, you've been out for so long. My drawing is good. My equipment, my gun, it's all good. I'm on site. I'm on target. I can draw fast. I can hit the target. My equipment, my backpack, everything's good. Everything's good to go. I am in shape.
Yeah.
I just haven't been to war.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't mean that because I haven't been to war, I'm sitting at home getting fat.
Mm.
I'm at the same weight from 22 years ago when I
Yeah.
first started the UFC. So,
Still in shape.
Did you have to do anything different for this training camp in how you trained compared to how you trained initially in the first
just
UFC?
set up the strategy.
Just the strategy.
Yes,
Did you have a
set
particular
up.
strategy going in?
It's exactly what you saw in
Yeah.
the fighter. That's what we trained for. That's why he got so lost. That
He
calls
was
good
lost.
strategy.
Yeah. Who was involved in your training camp? Did you bring
Wiley.
anyone in specifically?
Wiley was the main coach.
Yep.
And then James Strong in the strength and conditioning. Same guy that I've been using for a long time.
I saw that Joe Schilling.
17 years. And then Joe Schilling,
You kickboxer.
Mark from the yard.
Because if you watch
With the stand-up.
Yep.
Yes.
before the fight went to the ground and ended, your striking was actually, it was surprising, like, because you were throwing good kicks, and then Shamrock didn't know what to do. It was like Shamrock was super hesitant, which is the opposite way you'd think it would have gone.
Yep.
Did you feel that hesitation in him?
Yep. And we planned for that.
Yep. Now, was this fight, was this just a one-time thing?
It was a one-time thing. Only signed on one fight contract.
And how did it come about? Did they just call you, say we've got a...
Shamrock is the one that keep bugging the Bellator to fight me.
Okay.
And he give Kimbo, and
Yeah.
even after he lost to Kimbo, he came back and keep bugging Bellator. And so Bellator asking me, I was like, sure.
Did anyone call you out after it? Were people calling you out?
I heard there's a bunch calling me out.
I'm sure.
Like, leave me alone, people.
Yeah. Just one last thing, and we'll let you go.
Not just yet. I've got a couple of
You got a couple of
Just
cool.
a couple of
It was
little
final
ones.
points, man. One thing that guys like you and guys who excel and become masters in any particular area, they can generally translate that into other areas of interest. Do you have any other hobbies? Do you have any hobbies outside jiu-jitsu?
I shoot
Shooting,
quite a bit.
as in rifle shooting
Guns.
Guns?
Guns.
Handguns.
Rifles.
How did you get involved in that? Just a genuine interest.
Passion.
In
Yep.
America.
America.
America got to you.
Yep.
Did you ever get involved
It's
with?
the feeling of freedom.
Yeah.
People misunderstand that.
I'm sure, man.
Why people have guns in America. But we have guns not to protect ourselves against a bad guy, a robber. For that, you call 911, call the cops.
Yeah.
Not to protect ourselves against an invasion from a different country. That's why we have the military.
Yeah.
We have guns to protect ourselves against the government. Government takes away the guns from people, they can do whatever they want.
Mm. I'm sure if they came after
History
them.
repeats itself. Look at the history books. People still seems to forget very easy. But all the dictators out there that ever disarmed the people did whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's interesting.
And that's a bit macabre and dark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
From the beginning, it's all nice. And, oh, no, it's just for control the violence. Well, you can buy guns in South America.
Yeah. Yeah. Because guns don't kill people.
You
people kill
cannot
people.
buy guns in Europe that stop the crime.
No.
The only weapon that the gazelle have is the horn. If you take the horns from the gazelle, the predators will stop eating the gazelle. Really?
No. No.
No, that gazelle doesn't have a horn. Let's leave that one
He's
alone.
off limits.
It's off limits. Yeah, right.
That's too easy.
It doesn't work that way.
Interesting. What did you have to say?
Oh, I was just going to mention Luke from Newcastle. We've got him here. We might as well take advantage
Yeah,
of
man.
having him on the podcast.
Go for it.
One of the earliest black belts in Australia to come out of any sort of Gracie affiliate school. And he represents himself as your cousin. Do you have any comment? Are you Luke's cousin?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you meet Luke? How long ago did you meet him? And what sort of, can you give us a bit of insight into Luke?
Dude, how long? About 13 years ago?
14 years.
14 years ago?
In Rio?
I have a story, a good story if you like.
Yeah?
The first year you came out was when I was in Hawaii, when I met my wife Angela. And Angela mentioned to you that I was in Australia and I was going to come to your seminar, but I couldn't go there. One of my friends went to the seminar and he asked you, did you know me? And you're like, yeah, where is he? I'm going to beat the hell out of that guy.
You got some
And he
balls
comes-
married into
Yeah.
the Gracie family.
And he comes back to where I train. He's like, man, Royce is looking for you and he's pissed.
Of all people to have after you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That is cool, man.
And do you enjoy? How do you find the standard out of Luke's school and Luke's teaching? He's keeping up with the standards of
Yes.
of the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, the self-defense, all the guys on point out there.
That's
Mhm.
the main thing.
Yeah.
You see, he tried to stay close to what my father teach as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You think your father would be rolling over in the grave if he knew how jiu-jitsu was being taught today?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. He'd be mad.
Yep.
The majority of schools, anyway. The
Yeah,
majority of
yeah.
schools.
Schools teach a point system, but what they forget is martial art in general, not just in general, all the martial arts were not made for point system for tournaments. They were made to defend yourself in a street fight situation. Forget which one is better than the other, which one is good, which one is bad. It's martial art in general is made to defend yourself in a street fight situation.
And it's everyone's starting to lose sight of that. Do you think like the commercialization of it all, in that it used to be a bit of a niche thing, but now it's such a mainstream because of the UFC, in a way, but just with the amount of tournaments that are going on and there's prize money able to be won and sponsorships and all these things, it's almost like it's driving people to learn that way.
Not really.
No.
Because when the student comes into a martial arts school, he doesn't know what ADCC is.
Mm-hmm.
He never heard of the Worlds, Pan Ams, Naga. He shows up, he wants to learn something to defend himself. And then the instructor guide him into a point system art. Because it's easy, he doesn't have to know, he doesn't have to spend time teaching self-defense.
And he doesn't have to take time to learn it, the instructor himself.
Probably didn't learn.
Did you ever get involved in yoga at all? Like, there's a lot of this movement craze going on, and people seem to forget that Hickson was kind of onto that years ago. That's not anything you really got involved with? No. Is there anything that you used to do outside of jiu-jitsu to help your jiu-jitsu? Like things like your diet is something. Do you stick by the Gracie diet?
Yes.
Yeah. So what would a typical day involve for your diet? In it, you wake up. Is it because it's all to do with separating of the foods and whatnot?
It's not exactly a diet, it's more of an eating habits.
Okay, like a lifestyle.
So it's just the way we combine the food, we eat everything, we just combine the food in such a way
Yeah.
towards an easy digestion.
Yes. Well, do you have any seminars coming up in the next few weeks in Australia that you wanted to promote, or are they?
Leaves on Monday.
These on Monday.
He's got tomorrow night
Yeah,
at
tomorrow
Sendai, Friday night at Sendai Jiu-Jitsu
Yep.
in Burwood.
Sunday,
Saturday, you going to Rayoma on Saturday? You going to Ivan?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Saturday, Rayoma in, I'm pretty sure it's Clayton out there.
Okay.
and then Sunday,
Yeah. And then Sunday, I'm not sure where you're going.
there's one, who's Sunday?
Professor Junior, I'm not sure his
Junior,
name.
yes.
Oh, Helion Gracie.
Yes, I think
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
yes.
And that's in Pakenham.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, people will work it out.
Yeah.
Where can they find you? Social media? It's Real Royce on Instagram.
At Real Royce.
At
yes.
Real
At
Royce.
Real Royce,
What is it?
yes.
Do you have Twitter?
Same
Same
at
thing.
Real Royce, yep.
Alright.
And
Thanks,
Luke Beston.
Luke Beston. What's your name?
Beston
Your
Gracie
school, sorry?
Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, Beston Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in
Gracie.
Newcastle. Yeah.
Newcastle.
Highly
Gra-
recommend it.
Gracie.com.au.
Newcastle.
Gracie.com.au. Jeez, you got onto that one early.
Yeah.
No,
It's my married name.
It's not mucking around. Part of the family comes with it. The main name comes with the marriage certificate.
Alright.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Lloyd.
Thanks for coming on, man. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thanks. Thanks, man. Thank you.
Very much, thanks.
Right.
Thank you, boys.